6 months had passed since the hegemony's ultimatum to Earth. The galaxy barely recognized itself anymore. Admiral Taman stood in his new command center aboard the fortress station Humanity's Wrath, which now orbited where the Hegemony Council's homeworld once existed. Through the observation windows, debris from a billion-year-old civilization drifted like cosmic snow. "Status report," he ordered. Commander Hyunwoo activated the galactic display. Points of light marked human-controlled systems, and the map was mostly green now. 17 hegemony homeworlds have fallen. 5 species have surrendered completely. 3 have fled beyond the galactic rim. 2 have been reduced to pre-industrial technology levels. And the Kythera? Still fighting, but barely. Their last fleet is hiding in the Void Nebula. Captain Kyung-soo is pursuing them with the 3rd Fleet. Taman nodded with satisfaction. The ancient Kythera had ruled the galaxy before the other Council species even achieved spaceflight. Now they cowered in the dark regions between stars, hunted like animals by human ships that could follow them anywhere. The transformation had been swift and total. The hegemony's vast empire, built over millions of years, had crumbled in months, not through random destruction, but through systematic dismantling orchestrated by human strategic intelligence. Dr. Wu Jin appeared on the communication screen from his new laboratory on the conquered Draknori homeworld. Behind him, massive computers processed the technological heritage of 12 ancient civilizations. "The integration process is proceeding ahead of schedule," he reported. "We have successfully combined Vorthak crystalline computing with architect quantum processing. The new hybrid systems are 300% more efficient than our previous technology." "What about biological applications?" Dr. Yunji's team has created enhancement protocols using genetic material from all conquered species. Human colonial volunteers are already showing remarkable adaptations: enhanced strength, extended lifespans, improved radiation resistance. Taman smiled. Humanity had not simply defeated the hegemony. They had absorbed their best technologies and improved upon them. Each conquered world became a research laboratory, each fallen enemy a source of new knowledge. Captain Sora commanded the exploration fleet that was mapping the galaxy's remaining civilizations. Her ships, upgraded with captured alien technology, could now travel faster and farther than any vessel in galactic history. "We have identified 47 species that were never part of the hegemony," she reported from the bridge of her flagship, the New Wanderer. "Most are primitive, but 17 have achieved interstellar travel." "Their threat assessment?" asked Admiral Taman. "Minimal. None possess technology comparable to what we captured from the Council species. However, 3 civilizations show concerning expansion patterns. They may need to be managed." The word managed had taken on a specific meaning in human military terminology. It meant the complete subjugation or elimination of potential threats before they could become actual threats. Captain Mincio oversaw the construction of the new human empire from her position, aboard the mobile fortress New Geneva. Around her, the solar system that had once been humanity's entire domain was now just the administrative center of a galactic civilization. "Production reports from the conquered worlds?" she asked. "Exceeding all projections," replied Technical Officer Sang-woo. "The bio-shipyards we captured from the hegemony are producing vessels at 10 times their original rate. Human efficiency improvements have revolutionized their organic construction techniques. And our own shipbuilding programs? The Black Armada has grown to 15,000 vessels. We are producing new ships faster than we can train crews to operate them." It was a good problem to have, Mincio reflected. Humanity's greatest limitation had always been population. There were only 8 billion humans in the galaxy, compared to the trillions of aliens they now ruled. But human technology and tactics more than compensated for their smaller numbers. Dr. Ji-hoon worked in his laboratory aboard the research vessel Infinite Possibility, studying technologies that even the hegemony had never understood. The ruins of extinct civilizations yielded secrets that pushed the boundaries of known science. "We have achieved stable manipulation of dark matter," he reported to the Science Council. "The implications are staggering. We can now build ships that exist primarily in dark space, invisible and untouchable by conventional forces." "What about temporal manipulation?" asked Dr. Yuri from her AI Development Center. Still theoretical, but promising. The architect ruins contained references to devices that could slow or accelerate the flow of time in localized areas. "If we can crack their mathematics." The conversation was interrupted by an urgent priority alert. Captain Donghyun's face appeared on the emergency communication channel. All ships. Immediate tactical alert, he announced from the eternal night. Long-range sensors have detected an unknown fleet approaching from the galactic core. Configuration and technology profile do not match any known civilization. Admiral Taemin felt a familiar thrill of anticipation. 6 months of hunting fleeing hegemony remnants had become routine. The prospect of facing a new enemy was almost refreshing. Fleet status? He asked. The Black Armada stands ready, reported Fleet Admiral Sun Ho from his command ship. 15,000 vessels fully armed and equipped with integrated hegemony technology. We have forces stationed throughout the galaxy. Analysis of the approaching fleet? Captain Sora's voice came through the communication system from her deep space position. 2,000 ships, unknown configuration. They appear to be constructed from some kind of living metal. Technology profile suggests they are significantly more advanced than the hegemony was. More advanced? Taemin raised an eyebrow. Interesting. It has been months since we faced a real challenge. Dr. Yunji's image appeared on another screen. Preliminary scans suggest these ships are not piloted by biological entities. They may be artificial intelligences, possibly the remnants of an ancient machine civilization. Machine minds, mused Dr. Wu Jin. That explains why they never contacted the Hegemony Council. Organic chauvinists like the Council species would never have acknowledged artificial intelligence as legitimate life. Wing Commander Hei Wan prepared her fighter squadrons for potential combat. Her pilots now flew ships that combined human innovation with the best of captured alien technology. They could phase through dark matter, manipulate gravity, and strike from multiple dimensions simultaneously. All squadrons report ready, she announced. But sir, if these newcomers are truly more advanced than the hegemony, shouldn't we attempt communication first? Admiral Taemin considered the question. 6 months ago, he might have agreed. But 6 months ago, humanity had been fighting for survival. Now they were the galaxy's dominant power, and dominant powers thought differently about threats. Open a communication channel, he ordered. Let us see what these machines want. The response came immediately, transmitted on frequencies that hurt human ears to hear. The voice was like the sound of grinding metal mixed with electronic static. Organic entities of the former hegemony territories, it said, we are the Eternal Collective. We have monitored your conquest of the biological empire. Your species shows potential. This is Admiral Taemin of the Terran Empire, he replied. State your business in our space. Your space? The machine voice carried what might have been amusement. Curious. The biologicals who once ruled here believed the same thing. They also believed they were untouchable. Around the command center, human officers exchanged worried glances. The alien's confident tone was uncomfortably familiar. It was exactly how the hegemony had sounded 6 months ago. We offer you the same choice we offered them, the machine continued. Submit to integration with the collective and your useful traits will be preserved. Resist and you will be recycled into raw materials. The transmission ended, leaving the human command staff in thoughtful silence. They sound remarkably like the hegemony, observed Commander Hyunwoo. Arrogant, overwhelming force demand for submission. Yes, Admiral Taemin agreed. But there is one important difference, sir. Taemin smiled, but his eyes were cold as the space between stars. The hegemony demanded that we kneel. These machines are simply demanding that we die. That makes the choice much easier. He activated the fleet-wide communication system. Throughout the galaxy, human ships received the same message. All forces prepare for full military engagement. The Eternal Collective wants to harvest humanity for raw materials. Show them why that was a mistake. The Black Armada began moving through space like a living shadow. 15,000 ships armed with technologies from 7 extinct civilizations and improved by human innovation, prepared to face an enemy that believed itself superior. Captain Kyung-soo received the alert while pursuing the last Cathara fleet in the Void Nebula. All ships abandon pursuit operations. New priority target has been identified. As his vessels turned toward the galactic core, he permitted himself a moment of anticipation. The hunt for hegemony remnants had become predictable. These machines promised to be more entertaining. The galaxy held its breath as two forces moved toward inevitable collision. The organic empire that had conquered the hegemony in months, and the machine collective. The Hegemony Council met in emergency session on their ancient homeworld of Nexus Prime. For the first time in 10 million years, Their crystalline chambers echoed with the sound of fear. Counselor Vethmark of the Draknori paced the chamber floor, his scaled hide rippling with agitation. 3,000 ships, he hissed. Our finest bio-vessels grown over centuries, all destroyed by a species we dismissed as primitive children. The humans use technologies that should not exist, added Counselor Zixthera, her insectoid body clicking with nervous energy. Ships that phase through reality, weapons that rewrite genetic code, AI constructs that can invade our psychic networks. The eldest Counselor Mordeth of the ancient Kithara raised one tentacled appendage for silence. His species had ruled the galaxy before the others even achieved spaceflight. His voice carried the weight of eons. In 20 million years of galactic history, no species has ever developed such technology so quickly. The humans achieved in 50 years what should take 50,000. How is this possible? The answer came from an unexpected source. On the chamber's main screen, a human face appeared. Admiral Taemin sat calmly in his command chair, apparently broadcasting from Earth itself. "Honored counselors," he said in perfect galactic standard. "Allow me to explain." The alien leaders recoiled in shock. How had humans penetrated their most secure communication networks? "You ruled the galaxy for so long because you eliminated any species that might challenge you," Taemin continued. "But you made one critical error. You left their ruins behind." Behind him, images appeared showing human excavation sites on dozens of dead worlds. "We found the architects. We found the quantum lords. We found the remains of 7 civilizations you destroyed because they were becoming too advanced. You thought you had eliminated the threat. Instead, you left us a library." Counselor Vethmark's voice shook with rage. "Impossible! Those ruins were searched. Nothing remained. Nothing your people could understand." Taemin smiled coldly. "But humans think differently. We do not evolve slowly like you. We adapt, we learn. We take what works and make it better." The transmission cut to show human ships moving through hyperspace, using routes that the hegemony had thought impossible to navigate. Dark energy streams that other species avoided became highways for human vessels. While you spent millions of years perfecting the same old technologies, we spent 50 years combining the best ideas from every extinct civilization. The result is what you saw in our solar system. Fleet Admiral Sun Ho commanded the Black Armada's 2nd Division as it emerged from dark space behind the retreating hegemony fleet. His ships had traveled through the void between realities, a method of faster-than-light travel that bypassed all known detection systems. "All ships report ready," said Captain Mi Jin from the destroyer Voidwalker. "The aliens have no idea we are here." Sun Ho studied his tactical displays. The surviving hegemony ships were limping toward their nearest stronghold world, believing they had escaped the human pursuit. They were about to learn otherwise. "Begin the hunt," he ordered. Human ships materialized from dark space in perfect formation around the alien fleet. The surviving bioships, already damaged from the battle at Earth, found themselves surrounded by enemies that had appeared from nowhere. Admiral Rinthok, commanding the hegemony retreat, watched in horror as black ships emerged from what his sensors had shown as empty space. "How did they get ahead of us?" "We were using our fastest hyperspace routes." His answer came in the form of gravity weapons that crushed his escort ships like paper cups. The humans were not just following the retreating aliens, they were hunting them with the patience and skill of apex predators. Dr. Yunji monitored the bio-warfare attack from her laboratory ship, the Genetic Hammer. Around her, automated systems deployed weapons that attacked the very foundations of alien biology. "The Vorthak genetic structure is collapsing," reported Research Officer Tae Young. "Their crystalline matrix cannot adapt to our viral attack patterns." "What about the Draknori?" Hyunji asked. "Even faster breakdown. Their reptilian genetics are particularly vulnerable to our engineered retroviruses." Yunji nodded with satisfaction. The hegemony's slowly evolved biology was their greatest weakness when facing human-designed diseases. Unlike natural evolution, human genetic warfare could adapt faster than any immune system. On the hegemony flagship, Admiral Rinthok felt his body beginning to dissolve at the cellular level. His crew screamed in agony as human bioweapons rewrote their genetic code in real time. "Send a message to the Council," he gasped to his communications officer. Tell them the humans are not what we thought. They are something else. Something worse. The transmission never reached its destination." Commander Jae Sung's assault fleet had activated their null drives, allowing them to attack from outside normal spacetime. The hegemony flagship simply ceased to exist, erased from reality by weapons that operated beyond the laws of physics. Captain Kyung-soo led the pursuit of fleeing alien ships across 17 star systems. His vessels used dark space navigation to appear at any point in the galaxy instantly, making escape impossible. 3 more bioships destroyed in the Andorian sector, reported Lieutenant Yu-jin. The survivors are trying to reach the Kythera homeworld. Let them, Kyung-soo replied. We want the Council to see what happens to their fleets. Fear is a weapon too. But the human pursuit was not random destruction. Dr. So-young coordinated the systematic dismantling of hegemony infrastructure from her command ship, the probability engine. All major hegemony communication relays are compromised, she reported to Admiral Taemin. Our AI constructs have integrated into their quantum networks. We can monitor or disrupt any alien transmission in real time. The screen showed a map of the galaxy, with human infiltration points marked in green. Over 50 years, human deep space probes had placed dormant AI constructs throughout hegemony space. They had been waiting, learning, preparing for this moment. What about their psychic networks? Taemin asked. Completely compromised. Our cognitive warfare programs are spreading through their mental links like a virus. Several alien species are experiencing mass psychotic episodes as their shared consciousness networks collapse. On the crystal world of Vorth Prime, millions of Vorthak writhed in mental agony as human AI constructs flooded their collective mind with chaos. The species that had ruled through psychic unity found their greatest strength turned into a crippling weakness. Commander Seung-min led the assault on the crystalline cities themselves. His ships used sonic weapons calibrated to the exact resonance frequency of Vorthak crystal biology. Dr. Mi-young had spent years calculating the mathematical harmonics needed to shatter an entire civilization. The sound waves spread through the crystal cities like ripples through water. Within hours, structures that had stood for millions of years crumbled to dust. The Vorthak homeworld became a graveyard of broken crystal and silent screams. But the most terrifying human weapon was not their technology, it was their strategy. Unlike other species that conquered through brute force, humans fought like scientists conducting an experiment. Every battle taught them something new about their enemies. Captain In-hai commanded a fleet of research vessels that followed the combat ships. While the Black Armada destroyed hegemony forces, her teams collected biological samples, technology fragments, and strategic intelligence. We have complete genetic maps of all 12 hegemony species, she reported. Their bioship construction techniques are understood. Their psychic communication protocols are compromised. Excellent, replied Admiral Taemin. Knowledge is the deadliest weapon of all. The galaxy watched in horror as the hegemony's million-year empire crumbled in weeks. Ancient strongholds fell to human forces that appeared from impossible directions. Technologies that had taken millennia to develop were analyzed and improved by human scientists in days. On Nexus Prime, the surviving council members huddled in their chambers as reports of defeat poured in from across the galaxy. The humans are not stopping, whispered Counselor Zixathara. They are hunting down every ship, every base, every trace of our civilization. Perhaps we should negotiate, suggested another counselor. Offer them terms. What terms? Mordith's ancient voice cracked with despair. They do not want our surrender. They want our extinction. A new transmission from Admiral Taemin appeared on their screens. Behind him, the ruins of the Vorthak homeworld burned in the distance. Honored counselors, he said, his voice calm and cold. You declared war on humanity. You demanded that we kneel before your ancient power. You threatened to make us slaves or corpses. The camera pulled back to show human ships moving through space. Not the crude vessels the aliens had expected, but dark instruments of war that moved through reality like predators through tall grass. You have learned the price of threatening human civilization. The hegemony's age of dominance is over. The galaxy now belongs to us. The transmission ended, leaving the council in terrified silence. Outside their chambers, they could hear the sound of human ships entering their star system. The hunt was almost over. The hegemony fleet crossed into the inner solar system with the confidence of predators approaching helpless prey. Their bioships moved in perfect formation, weapons charged and ready to destroy any human vessel that dared to resist. Admiral Kethvaroth commanded the alien Armada from his flagship, a living vessel the size of a small moon. His species, the Vorthak, had evolved for war over millions of years. Their crystalline bodies could process tactical information faster than any computer. They had never lost a battle. Human resistance is minimal, reported his tactical officer. We detect 200 primitive vessels. They appear to be science ships with basic weapons. Kethvaroth's body pulsed with satisfied light. As expected, this species grows fast but lacks wisdom. They never prepared for real war. Around him, other alien commanders agreed. The humans had spread quickly through space, but their technology was crude compared to hegemony bioships. This would be a simple conquest like hundreds of others throughout galactic history. They were wrong. Captain Dong Hyun floated in the command center of the Eternal Night, a ship that should not have existed. The vessel hung in space at the edge of Mars' orbit, but no alien sensor could detect it. The ship existed partially outside normal reality, hidden in the quantum foam that filled the spaces between atoms. Around him, his crew worked at stations that hummed with impossible energies. The ship's AI, created by the brilliant programmer Yuri, processed information in ways that violated every known law of computation. All stealth systems are holding, reported Lieutenant Seok-jin. The aliens cannot see us. In fleet status? Dong Hyun asked. 3,000 ships report ready, answered Communications Officer Dalmi. The Black Armada awaits your command. Dong Hyun smiled. The aliens saw only 200 human ships because that was all they were meant to see. The real human fleet had been hidden throughout the solar system for decades, waiting for this moment. Signal Admiral Taemin, he ordered. Tell him the Black Fleet is ready to rise. On New Geneva Station, Admiral Taemin received the message he had waited 50 years to hear. Around him, his officers watched the approaching alien fleet with barely controlled fear. The bioships were close enough now to see clearly. Massive, organic vessels that pulsed with alien life. Sir, said Commander Hyun-woo, they are targeting our defensive platforms. Let them, Taemin replied calmly. It is time they learned what humanity really looks like when we go to war. He activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Taemin. Execute Operation Dark Dawn, show them the Black Armada. Across the solar system, space itself seemed to shiver and bend. Then from the darkness between worlds they appeared. First came the destroyers, sleek black vessels that materialized like ghosts from the quantum foam. Their hulls absorbed light so completely they looked like holes cut from reality itself. Weapons emerged from their sides, not the crude plasma cannons the aliens expected, but gravity manipulators that could bend space-time. Then came the cruisers, larger ships that phased in and out of normal space. Their quantum tunneling drives allowed them to appear anywhere instantly, making conventional tactics useless. Finally, the battleships emerged from dark space, massive vessels built with technology salvaged from 7 extinct civilizations. Their hulls were reinforced with dark matter. Their weapons could manipulate the fundamental forces that held atoms together. Admiral Kethvaroth watched in shock as his sensors suddenly detected not 200 human ships, but over 3,000. Where had they come from? How had they remained hidden? Impossible, he whispered, his crystalline body flickering with confused light. No species can build such a fleet in secret. His tactical officer's voice cracked with fear. Sir, their technology. It does not match any known classification. These ships should not be able to exist. On the Eternal Night, Captain Dong Hyun gave the order that changed galactic history forever. All ships, open fire. The Black Armada struck with coordinated precision. Gravity cannons fired beams that crushed alien bioships like insects. Quantum disruptors tore holes in reality, causing entire enemy vessels to simply cease existing. Reality anchors prevented the alien ships from using their bioregeneration abilities. Wing Commander Haewon led squadrons of fighters that existed partially in dark matter. The small ships could pass through enemy shields as if they were not there. Their weapons struck at the bioships' nervous systems, causing massive vessels to convulse and die like poisoned animals. The aliens tried to fight back, but their weapons could not target enemies that phased in and out of reality. Their bioships, evolved for conventional space combat, were helpless against technologies that ignored the normal rules of physics. Dr. Eunji watched from her command ship as humanity's biowarfare weapons took effect. Unlike the slowly evolved alien biology, human-engineered diseases adapted in real time. The hegemony's genetic defenses, built up over millions of years, crumbled in minutes. Target the command ships, she ordered. Disable their communication networks. Across the alien fleet, bioships began losing contact with each other. The hegemony's greatest advantage, their psychic network that allowed perfect coordination, became a weakness. As human AI constructs flooded their minds with cognitive viruses, Admiral Kethvaroth felt his consciousness being invaded by something alien and hostile. His thoughts became confused. Orders from his fleet commanders turned into meaningless noise. Around him, his bridge crew writhed in mental agony as human war programs attacked their minds directly. "Retreat," he managed to scream. "All ships withdraw immediately." But it was too late. Commander Jae-sung activated the null drives on his assault fleet. The human ships disappeared from reality entirely, then reappeared inside the alien formation. Their weapons fired at point-blank range, tearing through bioships from within. Captain In-hai commanded the stealth destroyer Ghost Protocol as it hunted the alien command vessels. Her ship could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, making it impossible to defend against. She watched through her sensors as her quantum torpedoes struck the alien flagship. The massive bioship convulsed as its living hull was infected with nanobots designed to rewrite genetic code. Within minutes, the greatest warship in hegemony history began dissolving into its component atoms. Admiral Kethvaroth's last thought before his ship died around him was a simple one. What have we awakened? The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the hegemony's invincible armada was scattered wreckage floating in space. Of 3,000 alien ships, fewer than 200 survived to limp away into hyperspace. Admiral Taman stood on the observation deck of New Geneva Station, watching the debris field where the alien fleet had died. Around him, his officers could barely believe what they had witnessed. "Casualties?" he asked. 17 ships damaged, reported Commander Hyunwoo. "No ships destroyed. Total crew losses, 43 personnel." Taman nodded. 43 human lives lost against an enemy that had ruled the galaxy for millions of years. It was a victory beyond anything they had dared hope for. But he knew this was only the beginning. The Hegemony Council would not accept this defeat. They would gather their remaining forces and return with everything they had. "Signal the Black Fleet," he ordered. "Prepare for pursuit operations." The aliens wanted a war. Now they will learn what human war really means. Captain Dong-hyun received the orders aboard the Eternal Night. Around him, his crew prepared for the next phase of humanity's plan. They would not simply defend Earth and wait for the next attack. They would hunt down every hegemony ship in the galaxy. "Set course for the edge of the system," he ordered. "Follow the survivors. It is time the galaxy learned a new rule. No one threatens humanity and lives to boast about it." The Black Armada began moving through space, their dark hulls invisible against the stars. They were no longer defenders of Earth. They had become hunters, and their prey was fleeing across the galaxy in terror. 60 hours remained until the hegemony deadline. At the edge of the solar system, space itself seemed to ripple and bend. Then the alien fleet appeared. Captain Sora watched through her ship's sensors as massive forms materialized from hyperspace. The hegemony vessels were unlike anything humans had ever built. They looked alive, grown rather than constructed. Their hulls curved and twisted like the shells of enormous sea creatures. Some ships stretched for kilometers, their surfaces covered with what appeared to be breathing organs. 3,000 vessels, she whispered to herself, checking her scanners again. Maybe more. Each alien ship was larger than Earth's biggest space station. Together they formed a wall of living metal and biotechnology that blocked out the stars. The fleet moved with purpose, heading straight for the inner solar system. Sora began transmitting everything she saw back to Earth. The aliens had to know she was there, but they ignored her small ship. They probably thought one human scout ship was not worth their attention. They were wrong about that. They were wrong about many things. On Earth, chaos filled the streets of every major city. News broadcasts showed the alien fleet approaching. Reporters spoke of humanity's final hours. Families said goodbye to each other. Some people prayed. Others rioted. Most just watched the sky and waited. Commander Hyunwoo stood on the observation deck of the evacuation ship Mercy, watching thousands of civilians board transport vessels. His job was to get them away from Earth before the aliens arrived. But where could they go? If humanity lost this war, nowhere in the galaxy would be safe. "Sir," called Lieutenant Bora from the communication station, Earth Command is asking for evacuation status. Tell them we are moving as fast as we can, Hyunwoo replied. But we cannot evacuate 3 billion people in 60 hours. He watched another group of children board a transport ship. Their parents had sent them away, hoping they might survive even if Earth fell. The children did not understand why they had to leave home. They cried and asked for their mothers and fathers. Hyunwoo turned away. He could not watch anymore. Far from Earth, in the darkness beyond Pluto, something extraordinary was happening. Objects that had drifted in space for decades began to change. What astronomers had catalogued as asteroids and space debris were revealing their true nature. Captain Min Seo floated inside the command center of what appeared to be a dead rock. But as she watched, the rock's surface split open like an egg. Metal walls extended outward. Lights came on. Weapon systems activated. Around her, dozens of similar asteroids were transforming. Each one was actually a hidden shipyard or weapons platform. Humanity had built them slowly, carefully, over 50 years. From the outside, they looked like natural space objects. No alien scanner could detect their true purpose. All stations report ready, said Technical Officer Sang-woo. The outer defense ring is coming online, Min Seo smiled. The aliens thought they were attacking a helpless world. They had no idea that humanity had turned the entire outer solar system into a fortress. Begin Phase 2 activation, she ordered. Wake up the fleet. The real surprise was still hidden deeper in space. In the dark regions between stars where no alien scanner ever looked. Humanity's true strength was stirring. Dr. Ji-hoon stood in the control center of Research Station Dark Matter, a facility that officially did not exist. Around him, scientists worked at computers that glowed with strange light. They were not just monitoring the hidden fleet. They were controlling technologies that broke every known law of physics. The quantum tunneling drives are stable, reported Dr. Eunmi. All ships report ready for phase transition. Biowarfare packages are loaded and armed, added Dr. Young-ho. Targeting systems have acquired the genetic signatures of all 12 hegemony species. Ji-hoon nodded. Humanity had spent 50 years studying the ruins of extinct civilizations. They had learned technologies that the current galactic powers had never imagined. The hegemony ruled through strength and tradition. They would face an enemy that fought with science and adaptation. Dr. Woo Jin wants to speak with you, said Lieutenant Nara. The main screen flickered, showing Woo Jin in his deep underground laboratory. Behind him, massive computers calculated probability matrices for the coming battle. The aliens have taken the bait, Woo Jin said. They see our evacuation ships and think we are running scared. Their fleet is advancing in a standard formation, expecting easy victory. What about our war fleet? Ji-hoon asked, still hidden. The cloaking systems are working perfectly. 3,000 alien ships are heading into our solar system and they have no idea what waits for them. Woo Jin's image smiled, but his eyes were cold. 50 years ago, we found the ruins of the architect civilization. They were the most advanced species in galactic history. The hegemony destroyed them because the architects fought by the old rules. Honor, direct confrontation, predictable tactics. He leaned forward. We will not make that mistake. When this battle begins, the aliens will face something they have never encountered. Humans at war. Admiral Taemin stood in the command center of New Geneva Station, watching the alien fleet approach on his main screen. The bioships moved like a school of giant fish, their formation perfect and intimidating. His human officers looked nervous. They could see only 200 human ships prepared for battle. Exploration vessels and science ships hastily fitted with weapons. Against 3,000 alien warships, it looked hopeless. But Taemin was not watching the approaching aliens. He was watching his secondary screens, which showed sensor readings from hidden monitoring stations throughout the solar system. The readings told a different story. Sir, said Communications Officer Jin-A, the aliens are broadcasting a message. The screen showed Christek Prime again. The crystal being's body pulsed with confident light. Humans of Earth, the alien said, we see your ships running away. We see your people fleeing their world. This is wisdom, but it is too late for evacuation. Surrender now and some of your species may be allowed to live as servants. Continue to resist and we will turn your world to ash. The transmission ended. Around the command center, human officers looked at each other with fear and anger. What are your orders, sir? Asked Lieutenant Colonel Hayrie. Taemin walked to his command chair and activated the fleet communication system. His voice would reach every human ship in the solar system, both the visible ones and the hidden ones. All ships, this is Admiral Taemin. For 50 years, humanity has prepared for this moment. We knew that our growth would eventually threaten the old powers of the galaxy. We knew they would try to stop us. He paused, looking at the alien fleet on his screen. The Hegemony Council rules through fear and overwhelming force. They have conquered thousands of worlds using the same tactics for millions of years. Today they will learn that humans do not follow the old patterns. Taemin's finger moved to the activation switch for Project Nightfall. They wanted us to kneel. Instead, they have awakened the Black Armada. All ships, prepare for Operation Dark Dawn. Show them what happens when humanity goes to war. Around the solar system, hidden bases began their final preparations. In the darkness between planets, thousands of ships that existed partially outside normal space prepared to decloak. Weapons that manipulated the fundamental forces of reality charged their power systems. The Hegemony fleet continued its approach, confident in their overwhelming superiority. They had done this countless times before. No species had ever successfully resisted their power, but they had never fought humans. The stars outside Admiral Taemin's office window looked peaceful. He had been watching them for 3 hours, unable to sleep. Something felt wrong in the galaxy tonight, though he could not say what. The communication alert broke the silence. The sound made his blood run cold. This was not a normal message. This was the emergency channel that had never been used in 50 years of space travel. "Admiral, you need to see this immediately," said Lieutenant Hyo-jin from the communications center. Her voice shook with fear. Taemin walked quickly through the corridors of New Geneva Station. The orbital base hung in space above Earth like a metal moon. Thousands of people lived and worked here, but tonight the halls felt empty and cold. The communications center buzzed with activity. Officers ran between screens and computers. Everyone looked scared. In the center of the room, a massive display showed an image that made Taemin's heart stop. A creature made of living crystal stood before them. It was tall as 3 men and shaped like a walking diamond. Light moved through its body like colored water. When it spoke, its voice sounded like breaking glass mixed with music. "I am Christek Prime, voice of the Hegemony Council," the being said. "I speak for 12 great civilizations that have ruled this galaxy for millions of years. We bring a message for the species called humans." Taemin stepped closer to the screen. He had heard stories of the Hegemony Council. They were the oldest and most powerful aliens in the galaxy. No one had seen them for hundreds of years. Most people thought they were just legends. "Your species has grown too fast," Christek Prime continued. "In 50 years you have spread to 17 star systems. You build weapons we do not understand. You ask questions that should not be asked. You are a danger to the peace of the galaxy." The crystal being raised 1 arm. Light flashed through its body like lightning. "The Hegemony Council has decided. Humanity will submit to our rule. You will stop building ships. You will stop exploring space. You will serve the greater civilizations as your masters decide. This is not a request. This is an order." Around the communications center, human officers looked at each other with shock. Some laughed nervously. Others looked angry. A few looked terrified. "You have 72 standard hours to surrender," the alien said. "Send a message of complete submission to these coordinates. If you refuse, we will come to your world. We will make you kneel. Choose wisely, humans. This is your only warning." The transmission ended. The screen went black. The room fell silent except for the humming of computers. Taemin stood still for a long moment. Then he turned to face his officers. "Get me a secure line to Earth Command," he said quietly. "Wake up, everyone. Presidents, generals, admirals. Everyone." "Sir," said Lieutenant Hyo-jin, "what do we tell them?" "Tell them that humanity just received a declaration of war." Far across the galaxy, Captain Sora floated in the observation deck of her ship, the Wanderer. She was alone among the stars, doing what she loved most, listening to radio signals from alien civilizations. Her ship was small and fast, built for deep space exploration. It could travel farther and faster than any other human vessel. Sora had spent 5 years mapping the outer edges of known space, always searching for new worlds and new knowledge. Tonight, something strange was happening. Her computers detected unusual activity on the alien communication networks. Encrypted messages flew between star systems at incredible speeds. Whatever was happening, it was big. Sora adjusted her listening equipment and focused on the strongest signals. Most alien languages sounded like noise to human ears, but her computer could translate simple meanings. What she heard made her blood turn to ice. Earth species. Elimination required. Genetic threat. Council decision final. The words came in fragments mixed with alien sounds and static. But the meaning was clear. The aliens were planning to destroy humanity. So-Ra ran to her communication station and began recording everything. She had to warn Earth, but her ship was 3 weeks away, even at maximum speed. By the time she arrived, it might be too late. She started her engines and turned toward home. On Earth, in a secret laboratory buried deep under the mountains of Korea, Dr. Wu Jin received a phone call that changed everything. "Project Nightfall is authorized," said the voice on the other end. "Begin immediate activation." Wu Jin had waited 20 years to hear those words. He hung up the phone and walked to his computer. His fingers shook as he typed in the activation codes. Project Nightfall was humanity's greatest secret. For 50 years, while the world thought they were just exploring space and building colonies, human scientists had been preparing for this day. They knew that someday, older civilizations would try to stop humanity's growth. They had planned for war. Around the solar system, hidden bases began to wake up. On the dark side of the moon, massive doors opened in what looked like empty craters. Beyond Pluto, in the cold depths of space, objects that had appeared to be asteroids began to move. Dr. Ji-hoon, Wu Jin's student, watched the activation screens with excitement and fear. "How many ships are there?" he asked. "More than anyone imagines," Wu Jin replied. "The aliens think we are weak because they see only our exploration vessels. They have never seen our war fleet." "Will it be enough?" Wu Jin smiled, but his eyes were cold. The Hegemony Council ruled the galaxy for millions of years because they never faced an enemy like us. They evolved slowly, carefully, following the same patterns for countless generations. But humans are different. We adapt, we learn, we change. He pointed to the screen showing the hidden fleet coming online. They wanted us to kneel. Instead, they have awakened something that should have stayed sleeping. Back on New Geneva Station, Admiral Taman stood in the war room surrounded by his best officers. In 72 hours, the most powerful alien alliance in the galaxy would arrive to demand humanity's surrender. On the main screen, Earth hung in space like a blue jewel. 3 billion people lived on that world. Millions more lived on the moon, on Mars, and in the space stations. All of them were counting on the military to protect them. "What are our chances?" asked Commander Hyun-woo. Tae-min looked at the estimates his computers had calculated. Against the Hegemony's technology and numbers, humanity's known fleet had almost no chance of victory. But Tae-min knew something his computers did not. He knew about Project Nightfall. "Prepare for evacuation of all civilian stations," he ordered. "Make it look like we are scared and running. Let the aliens think we are weak. And our defense plans? Trust in human creativity," Tae-min said, "and pray that 50 years of preparation will be enough." Outside the station, the stars continued their eternal dance. But somewhere in that darkness, ancient powers were moving toward Earth, and in the shadows between the planets, humanity's true strength was awakening.